I get double points. I don't care what the reason is. My perk is borrowed time.
Come on, guys. Listen, I know I could have used my item, but come on, damn it. Kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are making a brand new updated tutorial on how to do flashlight saves in Dead by Daylight. We've made a video like this in the past, a few to be exact, and that was over a year ago. Since then, flashlights have yet again been changed, and it's time to make an updated tutorial for everybody. In this video, we are going to be going over every single thing you need to know about flashlights, from regular saves to pallet saves, CJ tech, locker saves. Everything that you need to know as a survivor using flashlights will be in this video. Now, if you do enjoy, make sure you leave a like down below and to share it with your friends. Don't forget, we also stream on Twitch. The link will be in the description and on screen right now. We'll be live every single weekday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully, we'll see you there. With that being said, it's time to jump on into how to get a standard flashlight save. So the most basic thing to do with a flashlight when it comes down to saving is a regular animation pickup flashlight save. Now, at first, this may seem like a daunting task, but once you get some practice in, you'll realize how easy and simple it is to do. Now, obviously, we are in a private game, so it's easier to set up. In a public game, you'll need to trail the killer, be hidden until the pickup animation, and then finally come around the corner and dish out that flashlight save. So how exactly do you do it? Here are a few key things to keep in mind. The flashlight will always be aimed in the center of your screen when you click the button. This is important to keep in mind, as most people don't know where the beam is going to go and they panic and move it all around when trying to get the blind. Another thing to note is that you want to get the blind at the exact time where the killer has mobility of their character again. Anything before will lead in an early flashlight blind, and that won't help. Anything after, and the killer might be able to turn their screen to avoid the flashlight blind. So with that in mind, how do we exactly do this? Simply put, we wait until the killer picks up the survivor. This roughly takes 2 seconds until you need to start your blind. Another great way of gauging this is by looking when the killer's hand is near their face. Once you see that, it's time to start the blind. Hold down your flashlight, aim at the face, and as soon as the killer has mobility, the blind will occur and the killer will drop the survivor. Seeing this is one thing and actually doing it is another, so I highly recommend going into a private lobby with a few friends and you all can take turns and work on your flashlight saving. Once you get the accuracy down and you're familiar with how to use the flashlight, it'll then become much easier to get the flashlight saves. Keep in mind that you can do this above objects if the distance is correct. However, if there's too much things obscuring your view, or if you're too close in front of the killer, the blind will not work. You can also do this on angles. This is about a 45-degree cone from the angles that you can do, so you can be at the sides or in front of the killer. And the final thing is that all killers are exactly the same. You want to aim right below their head area, so you don't aim too high and you don't want to aim too low on their chest. Even if the killer has no eyes like Pyramid Head, you still can get this done if you aim in the correct area. Again, practice makes perfect. So now that we know how to get standard flashlight saves, you'll be able to go into a game, search your chest for a flashlight, or bring in a yellow or green purple flashlight and get yourself some saves helping out your team. But what about if you want to build a very nice flashlight that's going to be really good for doing these types of things? What exactly are the best and worst add-ons for the flashlights? Now, luckily, these things have not changed. None of these add-ons or even perks will affect the timing of the flashlight saves. Everything is going to be the same. The only thing that will be affected is the durability of the flashlight and how long the blind will be after you conducted the blind. The few other add-ons don't do too much, so let's talk about the 2 best add-ons to run for your flashlight. If you want to get the most juice out of your flashlight and continue using it throughout the maps, not only for getting flashlight saves, but for blinding the killer, the best thing to run is a purple flashlight with the battery and the low amp filament, in that specific order. If you swap them around, this will actually reduce some of the charges so you don't want to do that. The green battery and the low amp filament will give you the maximum amount of charges in your flashlight. The intense halogen, odd bulb, and high-end sapphire lens are also good add-ons to use if you're looking to blind the killer for a longer duration of time. The odd bulb increases the blindness duration, but it also increases the battery depletion. The high-end sapphire ends also increases the blindness duration, but decreases the beam width of the flashlight. The intense halogen also increases the beam brightness and blindness duration. So while these add-ons are good, they don't necessarily help you in the sense of giving you more flashlight life, and that's why the long life battery and the low amp filament are the best add-ons to run. As for the others, the leather grip, the battery, the tear optic, the rubber grip, the focus lens, and the wide lens, those are add-ons you typically want to avoid. They don't really do that much, with the exception of the battery that adds plus 2 seconds to your flashlight. Everything else just increases the beam's brightness or attempts to increase the accuracy, but realistically, they're add-ons you want to avoid. And of course, there is the broken bulb as well. This increases the beam brightness and the blindness duration, part of the Midnight Grove event, but it's a nice add-on you should keep in your back pocket. As for what flashlight to use, the standard flashlight will give you 8 seconds of battery life. The sport flashlight will also give you 8 seconds of battery life. However, it increases your aim accuracy, and the utility flashlight will increase the beam brightness, the blindness duration, reduce the aim accuracy, but lasts for 12 seconds. Realistically, the aim accuracy isn't that much. It doesn't mean anything, so don't even worry about it. The utility flashlight is the best flashlight in the game to run. Alright, it's time to look at some more advanced things that you can do with the flashlight. Now that you know how to do a standard flashlight save, it's time to take a look at how to do some more advanced things. We'll start off with pallet grab saves and vault animation saves. These are pretty easy and standard to do as well. Very similar to the standard flashlight save, you want to wait until the animation's arm is going to their head. If you do this correctly, the survivor will be free. Again, we are trying to get the flashlight save or the flashlight blind effect right when the killer has mobility of their character. Doing this at this time ensures that that happens. You can take a look in the background to see as soon as the killer is able to move, the blind actually occurs. The same can be said for the pallet grab saves. As soon as the killer's arm is near their head is when you want to turn your flashlight on. This will ensure that the survivor will escape. Now again, with some practice, this will be really easy to do. Now let's take a look at some of the even more advanced things that you could do in flashlights. Locker saves are next on the list. If performed correctly, a locker save ensures that you'll get the survivor out of the killer's grasp, and there's not much that a killer can do, as there's a very limited window for them to move their character to avoid the beam. Locker saves are some of the more harder flashlight saves to get, as the angle needs to be perfect and all lockers don't necessarily work. In the example you're seeing in the background, I'm aiming at the side of the locker using my angles, aiming the flashlight a bit more off-centered, and as soon as you see that the locker door is closing, that's when you want to turn on your beam. As soon as you see that the locker door is halfway closed, turn your flashlight on, and that will give you the perfect timing for the flashlight save. This one is going to take a lot more practice, and typically the blind happens 1 second or half a second after the killer gets mobility, but it's such a limited window that they aren't able to avoid the flashlight save. Again, if done correctly, there is little that a killer can do. And finally, it's time to tell you guys how to CJ tech with a flashlight. Now this one is the most difficult thing to perform with a flashlight. A CJ tech is essentially forcing the killer to pick up a survivor that's in a pallet by dropping the pallet on them, vaulting, which prompts them with the pickup animation rather than the break animation, and you simply vault back over to get the flashlight save. There's a lot of things that needs to go right for this to happen in a public game. First of all, the survivor needs to be in a dropped pallet. Of course, you can opt in to get the pallet save, but most killers are paranoid when it comes down to that. What you want to do is start to loop that tile and get to a point where if you drop the pallet, the survivor will be pushed to the same side that the killer is going to be stunned at. Once the killer is stunned, you can act like you're running away to ensure that they attempt to break the pallet, and what you do is run out and run back in to vault over the pallet. This is going to force the killers to pick up the survivor with the prompt rather than actually breaking the pallet. You simply revault, wait about half a second to make sure that arm is next to their head, because if you do it immediately, you will miss and mess it up. And once you've done that, you can easily get the flashlight blind and save.
CJ! Oh my god! He's gonna do it, everybody! Oh!
There it was.
He did it!
There's a lot of things that needs to go right for a CJ tech to perform and to work well. So be cautious when using this, because killers can easily step back and simply smack you down, or just completely leave the loop, as it happens in most cases. But if done correctly, you can get yourself an awesome flashlight save. So there you go, everyone. That is pretty much all the things that I can teach you with flashlight saves. A few other cool things that you can do with flashlight saves is that when you do end up getting the save, you can stack the blind by blinding the killer yet again. This will ensure that you and the survivor that you save get a little bit more time to escape the killer. You can continuously stack this blind if the killers aren't looking up or in a direction, to continue to blind them and gain some more distance. You can also experiment with 2 people attempting to get a flashlight save. Remember, if 2 beams are occurring at the same time, the flashlight timing is cut in half. So you would want to do this very near the end. And remember, you don't need to be in an animation to actually get a flashlight save. You can simply turn your beamer on and aim it at a killer. It just gives the killer a lot of time to react to this, but you still can aim it at their face, get the flashlight save in a last-ditch attempt. Now, this is much more difficult, as most killers end up looking away, but if they are not paying attention or they don't look up fast enough, you still can get the blind. This, however, will waste a lot of your flashlight use, so make sure that you keep that in mind. But my friends, that is everything that you need to know about flashlights in Dead by Daylight. I hope that this tutorial helped you. If it did, make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe for some more Dead by Daylight content. We're going to be posting a lot more tutorials and a lot more videos in the future. Again, make sure you check out our Twitch as well, where we will be live every single weekday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, I'm the King. I tip my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the fog.